Welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Take three. I'm not a video productionist. I don't have time to just shoot video after video and edit them. But my name is Scott Carter. If you're new here, I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. This is my YouTube channel. Talk about a lot of psychology, counseling related matters, a lot of family matters, parenting, high conflicts, divorce and custody stuff. In this video, I also talk a lot about personality disorders, particularly most often narcissism and borderline personality disorders. In this video, I am going to talk about narcissistic personality disorder. I'm going to talk about things that people do that actually seem to or can or often do attract people who have NPD or narcissistic personality disorder. I hear this from people a lot. I've heard this a lot, where they just kind of seem perplexed. They seem confused. Why do these people keep finding me? What am I, some sort of magnet? If you feel like you're a narcissist, a magnet for narcissists, then you likely are. And I'm going to go over some things here on ways that people might actually be like almost like a beacon, like a flame or a light for moths to fly to. When it comes to narcissism, and narcissists. In other words, they fly to you the way that a moth flies to a flame, right? Or a light. And they just find you. There are certain behaviors that a lot of people show where it's like they become a beacon. And the narcissists just almost instinctually just know how to find them. It's a little weird. It's a little uncanny. It's bizarre. There are a few things about NPD or narcissistic personality disorder that are really, really strange to me, really bizarre. This is one of them. Their ability to sniff out certain people, just like boom, like that almost. And I've got a short list here of a kind of a cluster of behaviors that I have found that are most common in people that seem to attract narcissists. And this came to mind when I had a conversation with a friend, and I don't see him very often. He fits this cluster, and I'll get into it. He's all of these. He's just all of these things. And he was telling me, he's like, I feel like I just attract these people. I'm a magnet for them. And I'm like, oh, you are. You definitely are. And I don't normally get into work-related stuff in my personal life with people in my personal life. But I mean, he was struggling with work, and he just felt like he had a narcissist at work that just, for some reason, was just absolutely dogpiling him. And it's not a coincidence. So I'm going to get into this list, but before I do, if you're new here, obviously hit that subscribe button. I recently hit my first 160 subscribers. Woo, feels like a lot to me. YouTube standards, I know it's not that much. So help me get to my first million. Hit subscribe, like, share, notification bell. If you are in a high conflict divorce custody, I have a couple of online courses at Udemy. Udemy pays like crap. I'm currently putting a lot of time and effort into launching my own website, launching my own platform where I can offer these courses, and it's worth it to me. I would have more courses on Udemy if it didn't pay like crap. It's just not worth my time to develop these courses on Udemy. It pays like crap. So if you're if you hit that notification bell, you will be notified when I announce that my new website is live and these new courses are available for purchase. They have to do with high conflict court and custody. I've updated that. It's new and improved. Parental alienation, communication skills, high conflict co-parenting, and that type of stuff. Those are going to kind of be like a 4-pack, a big 4-pack. But there will be others, but you'll be notified. If you have a viewer question, scottc at saltcitycounseling.com. You'll remain anonymous. And also, last item, and then we'll get to this list, I promise. If you like my content, you can really help me out and hit the tip jar. All those links are in the description below. And the more you can help me with that gratuity, the more I will keep content like this going to you for free. And for those of you who have sent me some gratuity, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into this. No more delays. No more delays. Okay, here's the cluster of behaviors that I find very, very common most of the time with people when they end up attracting narcissists or narcissistic types. Number one is being overly apologetic. Now, when I talk about people who have divorced someone who has narcissism, or like someone who's in a high conflict situation and their ex is narcissistic, borderline, or the high conflict type, I usually refer to that parent as the apologetic parent. They're always apologizing. They're always explaining their behavior. They're always defending their behavior. They're always in that like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry mode. And they apologize too much. And in everyday situations, too many apologies will just make you stand out like a sore thumb. And narcissists, I'm positive that they pick up on this. If you are overly apologetic and constantly apologizing for things that don't need apologies, you're going to be more likely to attract these types. Okay. And I had one client, by the way, she would apologize like it was a job over nothing, over just constantly. She would apologize for nothing a half dozen times during the session. And I told her, I said, I'm going to start charging you extra for every time you apologize. And it cured her really quick. She was choking on her apology. She really wanted to, but I was serious. It's like, you really, really need to curb this behavior. Okay. Number 2 behavior that attracts narcissistic types: anxious, fearful, or worried. Okay. If you're really anxious, if you're really fearful, if you're always worried and kind of in that frantic state, that frantic, worried or afraid state, this is a beacon. Okay. So narcissists, they feed off of fear. They feed off of it. They see anxious and afraid people as an opportunity. They're opportunistic. This is one of my biggest issues with narcissistic types. They see the anxious, fearful, worried people as an opportunity, and they have a tendency to capitalize on those. And they can smell fear. I'm sure of it. I'm absolutely sure of it. This is one of those weird, bizarre things about narcissism. They can smell your fear. They can feel it intuitively. They just pick up on it. This is their beacon. The people who are the most anxious and fearful and worried, they capitalize. They just go for it. Okay. Number 3 is the need for approval. And granted, most people need some level of approval, or they believe that they need some degree or level of approval. And this is another one of those things that says, I'm desperate, take advantage of me. Narcissists look for the wounded animals. They're kind of predatory in nature. They look for those they just look for opportunities. They're opportunistic, and opportunistic people are predatory in ways, right? They see it as a sign of weakness, and they just go for it. Okay, and so if you feel like you're in that place, or please approve of me, please like me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. This kind of goes with the apologetic style too. And is my zipper too high or is it too low? Please tell me. I'll do whatever you want, right? That communicates to them like, hey, this is my person. Number 4, last item on this particular list, is low self-esteem. Now, it's hard to hide low self-esteem, but again, narcissists see this as an opportunity. They're opportunistic. They're really looking for the wounded animals. They're looking for those who have the least amount of individual or emotional, psychological strength. And so if you have low self-esteem, I mean super duper low, and you're overly apologetic and you cannot have that anxious style, I'm telling you, narcissists like a moth to a flame. And this friend that I previously mentioned fits these like to a T. And this friend of mine complains all the time that he just somehow, the worst types just seem to find him, and they always just hone in on him. It's because in my world, he has this cluster of behavior. And I'm sorry, but you've got to learn how to change these, or it will just keep happening. And there's a lot of shame for these types of people. There's a ton of shame in being bigger. They're always try to be small. If that would be number 5 on this list, the people that always try to be as small as possible, take up as little space as possible. I had someone in my office the other day that, they were really emotional. She was really emotional, and she got a tissue, and she just kept folding the same tissue over and over and over and over. And I was like, you can use more than one, and she's like, I don't want to. And I went back to this need to be small and take up as little space as possible. So number 5 is the people that are always playing small, always taking as little as possible. That's just a sign that a person is weak, and narcissists tend to capitalize on that. So just as a real quick side note too, I believe that the list that attracts borderline personality disorder is a different list. I will likely do that list soon in the near future, so hit notification bell, subscribe, and all that stuff if you want to see that video. Comment below and all that stuff, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.